June 6, 2014 commemorates the 70th anniversary of D-Day, the Allied landings on the beaches of Normandy in France, beginning what Supreme Allied Commander General Dwight Eisenhower aptly named the Great Crusade. During the night of June 5, 1944, 16,000 Allied paratroopers landed behind German lines in northwestern France. The following day, June 6, 1944, more than 150,000 British, American, French, and Canadian troops landed on beaches on the Normandy coast, with the now famous code names Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword, in what became the largest amphibious landing in military history. D-Day marked the beginning of the Allied forces' Herculean struggle to liberate occupied Europe from Nazi domination and resulted in the eventual surrender of all German forces and the end of hostilities on May 8, 1945. Hello, I'm Arnold Rosen, Sun City resident, Korean War veteran, and military historian. I was honored to interview a select group of Sun City residents who were directly involved in events connected with this historic event. On June 5, 1944, Hal Harriman, then a sergeant in the U.S. Army Air Corps, was on duty in the communication shack at the Washington, D.C. airport. Two four-star generals, General George Marshall, Army Chief of Staff, and General Hap Arnold, head of the U.S. Army Air Corps, walked into the shack and handed Hal a message to be encoded and sent directly to General Dwight D. Eisenhower, commander of the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force in Europe. The message commanded Ike to begin the D-Day invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. Hal Harriman will be 96 years old on August 21st. About the same time, on the eve of June 5th, across the pond in England, another Sun City veteran, Earl Rogers, stood on the airstrip with his buddies of the 82nd Airborne Division, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment. With faces blackened with grease paint, parachute and backpack securely buckled and ready to board one of the hundreds of C-47 transport planes, 13 paratroopers sat on each side of the plane. Earl was nervous about the events that lay ahead of him. He looked at his buddies' faces across the aisle, inside the plane. Some had blank stares, others mouthed prayers, as though they were searching for some sanity and peace of mind. Earl also joined in some silent prayers to calm his nerves. The silence was broken when they approached the jump site. "Stand up! Hook up!" rattled Earl's first sergeant. The side door opened, and Earl and his buddies jumped into a pitch-black night to land at St. Mary Glees, Normandy at 1:30 a.m. on June 6, 1944, 6 hours before the Normandy beach landings. St. Mary Glees, Normandy, France, was the first town taken on the Western Front of Europe. Earl says he was one of the lucky ones who survived the assault. Earl Max Rogers died June 26, 2012, at the age of 89. Both Earl and Hal Harriman were among a group of Sun City veterans that visited schools, colleges, and community groups in the Low Country to tell their stories. Another witness to history was Barbara Brooks, then a 19-year-old serving in the Women's Royal Navy. She was on duty at Southwick House in England, headquarters for the planning and implementation of D-Day. She then often crossed paths with General Eisenhower and other Allied leaders. Barbara recalled the evening of June 5th, 1944.
I had been on duty all night into the early morning hours of June 6th. We all heard the roar of planes flying overhead and speculated that it was the parachute troops going over the English Channel to France. Our team had worked all through the night, but we wanted to stay up to see this defining moment in history. It was exciting because we finally knew what we were working for. I was a witness to the greatest event in history, and even as young as I was then, I knew that this date would live with me for the rest of my life.
Several Sun City residents and veterans have made the tour of Normandy beaches in recent years and raved about this once-in-a-lifetime experience. If you have read the book Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose, or watched the HBO miniseries by the same name, then you can begin to sense the exhilaration of literally walking in the footsteps of these unique and courageous young men and women. For those Sun City residents that are true World War II historians, a visit to the D-Day sites should be included on the top of your bucket list. It will be a journey that will remain in your memories for a lifetime. D-Day, June 6, 1944, was and will remain a defining date in the history of our great nation. For Sun City TV News, I'm Arnold Rosen.